Woke up in London yesterday, found myself in the city near Piccadilly. Don't really know how I got here. I got some pictures on my phone, new names and numbers that I don't know. Address to places like Abbey Road. Day turns to night, night turns to whatever we want. We're young enough to say, oh, this has gotta be the good life. This has gotta be the good life. This could really be a good life, good life. I say, oh, this feeling that you can't fight. The city is on fire tonight. This could really be a good life, a good, good life. To my friends in New York, I say hello. My friends in LA, they don't know where I've been for the past few years or so. Paris to China to Colorado. Sometimes there's airplanes I can't jump out. Sometimes there's boats that don't work now. We got our stories, but please tell me what there's to complain about. When you're happy like a fool, you let it take you over. When everything is out, you gotta take it in. Oh, this has gotta be a good life. This has gotta be a good life. This could really be a good life, good life. I say, oh, this feeling that you can't fight. The city is on fire tonight. This could really be a good life, a good, good life. Oh, a good, good life. Hopelessly, I feel like there might be something that I'll miss. Hopelessly, I feel like the window closes so quick. Hopelessly, I'm taking a mental picture of you now. 'Cause hopelessly, the hopeless we have so much to feel good about. Oh, this has gotta be the good life. This has gotta be the good life. This could really be a good life, good life. I say, oh, this feeling that you can't fight. The city is on fire tonight. This could really be a good life, a good, good life. Oh, yeah, a good, good life. Good life. Listen to my friends in New York, I say hello. My friends in LA, they don't know where I've been for the past few years or so. Paris to China to Colorado. Sometimes there's airplanes I can't jump out. Sometimes there's boats that don't work now. We got our stories, but please tell me what there's to complain about.
All right, so we are going to get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Charlene Duzick. I am the co chair of the Alumni Network Committee for the Foundation for College of the Canyons, and very excited because we continue to have a amazing partnership with our Associated Student Government. And so today is really an opportunity to connect you with some of our alumni who have gone in different career paths and done different things. But I'm actually going to give this and turn this over to our wonderful representative from our Associated Student Government. And so Jamal is has been doing a fantastic job of getting all of our alumni on par and connected. And so with that, so Jamal, I don't know if I'll say your last name, okay, but Yarbrough, right?
Yes, perfect.
All right, yay! So
Absolutely.
I'm going to turn
Great
this
job.
over to Jamal, And I want to thank you all for being here, and we'll look forward to what's to come.
Yes, thank you so much, Charlene. And I'd like to just thank everybody for being here today. But before we get started, I'd like to quickly say that this event is being recorded. So if you missed a portion of it, it will be uploaded on our ASG event webpage. Very soon after this session, more details will be posted on our ASG social media. So feel free to check it out. Also, as you can tell, when you enter into the Zoom room, you will be automatically muted. Please note that this is an informational session, and to our audience members, please utilize the chat to ask questions and we will answer them at the end of the session. If the question is for a certain panelist, please let us know in the chat. And to our panelists, please unmute yourself when it is your turn to speak. We do it all the time, so just be aware of that. And I will be introducing you. So also I would like to add, if you're here to earn ICC points for your club, please put your club's name into the chat. And for student attendees, please input your email address so we can send you your free $6 Fandango promo card. Thank you to the Alumni Network and the Foundation for making this event possible. We appreciate your ongoing support. You guys have really been amazing, just working with ASG and all of the students and the mentorship. So thank you for all of that. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our first panelist, Mr. Christopher Boyorquez Engelhardt. What a name. But Christopher graduated from the Academy of the Canyons in 2009, College of the Canyons with his associate's degree in 2010, from Cal State Bakersfield University Center in 2012. He was able to stay on campus for high school and for 2 different colleges. He received his degree in liberal arts with a minor in communications. He did student teaching at Echo Park and Castaic while he was getting his teaching credentials. Christopher was a long-term substitute for getting hired at charter schools, and Christopher also was a facilitator at an elementary school. He worked with school for years before helping to be a seed teacher at brand new charter sister school, 3 years, and he has been there ever since. He was an intern teacher for a few years, multiple teaching credentials at Cal State and also at Cal State Los Angeles. His focus with education is always social, emotional first, and through that, he can gain the trust he needed to help teach children and grow in the walks through the classroom. His strengths and passion for his classes centered in project-based learning, technology, play, and making authentic connections and learning. He has also continued to educate himself over the years and has always tried to support others, which is one of the reasons why we have him here. That was a mouthful. Chris, what an amazing job you've done in your academic journey. So we can't wait to just get some questions out to you. But up next is our next panelist, Francisca Milhoen. Francisca Milhoen has been married for 19 years and has 4 children. Francisca has been a nurse for 6 years and currently works at Henry Mayo Memorial Hospital as a night nurse, and for Oakwood as a school nurse. She loves what she does. She enjoys learning new things as well as helping others in their future careers, and it's the obvious reason why she's here today. And we can't wait to get some questions out to you, Francisca, because we have a prestigious nursing program here at COC, and I'm sure some nursing students can't wait to hear from you. Our next panelist is Corinne Young. Corinne co-founded Arcade Studios, an award-winning post-production studio here in Santa Clarita. His journey to success began with Super 8 film camera. Oh, sorry about that. Excuse me. It's nerve-wracking bringing in such amazing people, so please excuse me, guys, for that. But back to Corinne. His journey to success began with him telling stories in grade school and experimenting with his family's Super 8 film camera. As a student at Valencia and in high school, he helped build the video production program and produce one of America's first student-run live daily news broadcasts. He attended college of the Canyons for 2 years and earned a certificate in media and arts and an associate's degree in radio, television, and film. Corinne then studied cinema and television at CSUN, where he produced short films and screened in festivals around the world. Corinne ventured into the film industry for Santa Clarita Valley Television Station, uh, DreamWorks Animation, the Cannes Film Festival. Corinne specialized in DVD and Blu-ray, authoring for 13 years, and he has worked with major titles for studios like Fox, Disney, Universal, Paramount, and Warner Bros. In 2009, it ultimately led him to becoming a co-founder of Arcade Studios, helping him prepare hundreds of independent films for home video distribution. You guys have such amazing uh, accolades, so this is going to be awesome. Uh, Last but not least, and my mentor and personal favorite, Mr. William Harwood, who has been working with me for the last past year, just an all-around amazing person. William, while at College of the Canyons, spent most of his time studying in Mesa. He worked with high school and junior high school students exploring the fundamentals of flight during NASA's sponsored summer camp. He graduated in 2013 with an associate's degree in mathematics. From there, he went to Georgia Tech, Georgia of Technology, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree of science in mechanical engineering. While at Georgia Tech, he was a member and eventually presided over the largest student-run makerspace in the United States, the Invention Studio. It was there where he cut his teeth in small-scale manufacturing. He continues to encourage by making by sitting on a COC Makerspace Advisory Committee. After graduating from Georgia Tech, William moved back to Santa Clarita and began working with a small Pasadena-based startup company, working with the renewable energy sector. In this role, he and his colleagues designed the first commercially viable roof-mounted two-axis solar tracker. Stuttering everywhere else, but I can say that perfectly. After working through the stress of pushing his early designs into low-rate initial production, William returned to prototyping when he accepted his position with the world-renowned Lockheed Skunk Works, Lockheed Martin. At Lockheed, he runs an additive manufacturing laboratory that supports the development of wind tunnel models for the next generation of high-performance aircraft. In 2017, while William and his wife Jessica welcomed their daughter Juniper into their family. While not working, William enjoys his family time and supporting his wife's effort to make a more sustainable home. Holy mackerel, that was a lot. And you're setting the bar really high for engineering students there, William. So thanks for that. Me being an electrical engineering student. So what an amazing collection of motivational COC alumni panelists we have here today. So just getting straight into some Q&A, I'd like to first just start off with just a general question for all of you guys. Please excuse my nervousness. But I'm just excited at the same time to have you guys come out and tell such amazing stories to our amazing students. So where does your passion come from, and what advice would you give to students struggling to move forward in this new online educational environment? And any one of you could take the question first, or I could pick somebody. Let's go with Francesca.
So for me, I actually got into school because my husband was working a pretty dangerous job. He's a power lineman. So my motivation was to have security for my family. And as being a nurse, you have a lot of freedom. So I went from working full-time 3 days a week to part-time to per diem, where I go in once a week. And I work for a school district where I'm on call for sports and athletics, and I'm a sideline nurse. But for me, it was the drive to, have financial security in case something were to happen with my husband, and freedom to also be involved with my children. So I work around their schedule, and that's pretty much my drive. I'm pretty self-motivated. Being online is kind of like a blessing because I feel like I can take my laptop to the beach and, and be at school. So I don't know. That's more my motivation was for the family. So
Amazing motivational standpoint. I mean, family is one of my big driving factors too. So I'm glad to hear that. Can we get some input from you, Chris? Where does it come from you? And I could pose the question again if you like.
Yes, please. Can you just repeat so I make sure I hear anything?
Just wanted to know where your passion comes from and what advice you would have to students struggling to move forward in this new online educational environment.
Okay, so my passion from education, I used to help with my Sunday school classes growing up as I got older. And then I started noticing I liked helping others and I liked helping kids. In school, I struggled a lot. My parents were, I'm first generation, born here in the United States. My parents didn't really know how to read and write. They didn't have they didn't graduate from high school. So I really sought support from my teachers along the way. And just the compassion, the help I got along the way really made me want to be there for others in that same way. And I have done online classes and tried them. Some people go for it at first if they like that option because they want to fit around their schedule. But with everything changing, it kind of was mandated for everyone now, even if you prefer in person. So my main thing for if you're having to continue any online classes is to get a support system, connect with some people. That is one of the things that really got me through my education. I had a group of friends that I met with, and even with some courses I was taking, you can call people, text, Zoom, and make sure you're there for each other, you're supporting each other, because it's all new, the way it's kind of shifting. So making sure you find someone that's there for you, even if you have to branch out a little bit with new people that you meet.
Well, Chris, I mean that's really heartfelt. That sounds amazing because I wouldn't be able to follow my academic goals and dreams right now if it wasn't from support from other people and just kind of finding people who understand me and my situation. And I think that's really important advice that you gave the students and myself today, to just, always find, a team, build one if you don't have one. William, my main man, William. Can you please share-
Yes. Hello. I think you hit on a really important topic, and that is I hope everyone has something to be passionate about, because you kind of don't want to get into the rut of kind of using your work to just live your passion, because what you'll find is that you slowly get burned out on work, and you find less and less time to do the things that you're passionate about, especially as life kind of gets in the way, which, as you age and you have kids and family becomes more important, those things, you just don't have time for them anymore. So if you can integrate passion, something you're passionate about, into your work, that's excellent. I'd have one cautionary caveat to that, and that is that if you're really interested in one particular thing, like for me, it was motorsports. I just really like racing cars and whatnot. And if you actually go into that field, which I did for a very short time, I found that this is not at all what I thought about it. It wasn't at all what I like to do. And it actually, like, seeing the sausage being made proverbially really kind of was not a good thing. So if your passion is, something very specific, you might want to look at broadening that to be more based around a skill set or something. Like, I found that I'm very passionate about solving technical problems in complex systems. And so that broadness, giving me a new project all the time, really helps me. I wouldn't say now that I would be like really keen on going to work in the motorsports industry, which is something I was really into. And in fact, I'm not in the motorsports industry. I'm in aerospace now, where there's some overlap, but it's something that I can still enjoy on the side without actually making it work.
Great, great. I love it. I mean, sometimes you have to do things that you really don't know if it's right for you until you actually figure out in the end if it is or not. And you know, that kind of goes back into a little story about myself. I mean, my comms professor is here, Mr. David Stevenson, and he, ever since I took his comms 151 class, and I'm supposed to know how to do this speech really well, and it's like I get here and I know he's here, and it kind of just like puts a like little damper on things about how I recognize what I'm really supposed to be doing. I mean, you just got to try things until you figure out what's really right for you. So thank you for that, William.
Jamal, you're doing great, my friend. You're a full-on total leader.
If
You
I
got,
had that voice,
you got nothing to worry about, my friend. You're doing fantastic. All right, just keep it up.
always super supportive, and yeah, he's the one. If I had that voice, I know I'd be crushing it though. Corinne, please, thank you for being so patient. Can you please put some input on that question for us?
Yeah, sure. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here on this panel talking with everyone. Good to see you all. So your questions about, where does your passion come from? I feel like growing up here in Southern California and kind of seeing the film industry around us, particularly in Santa Clarita, it's just everywhere. I kind of always just had that passion for telling stories with film, as you said when you read my bio. Started out with my parents' old Super 8 film camera, and then when they got a VHS camcorder, just started playing with that. And these days, anyone who wants to make a video can do it, right with their own phone, and it's really easy and really fun. So I've just always kind of loved that and I knew I wanted to use that in my career somehow. Now, as far as learning in this, there, I fixed my audio. That should be better, right? Thank you. As far as learning in this new online world, I think I adapted to it pretty easily. I was actually taking some online classes myself last year. And I found that the way that I learn is very much digital. If there's ever something that I want to know, I can pull out my phone or get on my computer, go to Wikipedia, go to YouTube, and I like to educate myself that way. I'm still learning stuff about film and video every day from online tutorials, and I actually share that with my students. I'm an adjunct faculty. I teach cinematography here at College of the Canyons, and so I share a lot of that stuff with my students because we're learning now through Zoom, and there's great ways to learn. The drawback to that, though, is that filmmaking is a very hands-on and collaborative activity, and so when you're not working together and you're not hands-on, you're not in the school studio using the school's equipment, you're just at home shooting stuff on your phone, it kind of suffers it. But I think that we can use that opportunity to just kind of seek out information. There's pros and cons. You don't have to get dressed. You don't have to schlep across town. You can meet just, right from the comfort of your own living room. But the trick is that you have to stay motivated. You have to know what you want. And you have to always be pushing yourself to that goal. Otherwise, you're not going to get there if you're taking the lazy way out.
Absolutely, I love that. So I guess what I'm getting from everything that you're saying is that students should try to find pros and cons about any type of difficult situation, and in order to keep moving forward and to be driven, it's always good to look for the pros, and even in situations that are kind of like this. And like you said, there are a lot of pros to online learning, since I've been doing it too. And it's from doing things that you said, like kind of just finding things that are good about it. Like sometimes you can enter into class and be perfectly on time and not have to actually show your screen. So sometimes you can get a little extra nappy nap, you know what I mean? But it's just great to hear that there are ways for us to keep it going, no matter what the circumstances. And now I'd like to get into a question that's kind of like, I hope that it touches just a broad spectrum, because you guys are all in very, very competitive industries. So in these competitive industries, did you ever think that your education and your career going forward that you will be able to find a job in your profession? I mean, did you ever have any doubts or hesitations? Let's just keep it going. I'd like to see what you feel about that, Francesca.
No, I wasn't really worried. I think for nursing, there's a lot of different areas that you can go into. When I was doing my rotations through the nursing program, they introduced you to different areas like med surg, ICU. So I got a taste of each department, and that kind of guided me on which direction I wanted to go and what I liked, and then which areas I did not want to do. But as you go through the program, the teachers are really good about introducing you to the different faculty, as well as the different charge nurses and staff at the hospitals that you do your rotation. So you kind of build a rapport, and that kind of is like a job interview in itself. So people get to know you. And then as you get your year after you complete or after you get a job, you basically can go anywhere you want. So you could become a travel nurse. You could be, like in my instance, I was approached to be work for a private school in North Hollywood as a on-call nurse. And that just opens more and more doors for you. It's just getting to know people and even continue your education, because even though I've received my my RN and my bachelor's, I can keep moving forward to where I can teach, or I mean, really anything. I can go and do Botox. So there's a lot of opportunities, which I wasn't really worried about getting a job. It was just more, did I want to work full time? Just kidding. No, it just gives you more opportunities, and the more people you meet in the industry, you'll basically find where you want to be. Because like I went in and I became a med surg nurse, and then I was introduced to so many different areas that I still stayed within med surg. I never changed it. I just ended up adding more jobs to my list and being on call. So,
That's really awesome, and that's pretty cool to hear that you kind of did have the option to want to be part-time or full-time. And Charlene got a great big laugh out of you could have went into Botox thing. So.
Well, I do have my license for that, but then coronavirus hit, so there was no more Botox party. So that's a license I can't use right now. So.
Yeah, but I mean, when it does open back up, I mean, it would do pretty good in California, especially Southern California. I mean, we're all about that fashion. I mean, like, we're gonna.
Oh God.
Thank you, Chris. Can we please hear from you on that question? I mean, did you ever have any doubts about where your education would lead to, or kind of like that imposter syndrome kind of vibe, like you don't know if you were right for this and if it was going to work out in the end? Did you think that you were going to have that the profession that you chose, and did you have any hesitations?
I had people tell me not to go into my profession for various reasons. There was teachers that I was at schools doing student teaching that were probably not the best teachers. They just did it because it was easier back in the day, and they wanted to get the job, and they were telling me not to become a teacher and not to even try. And depending on different times, there might be teacher shortages or whatnot. So people would always try to whisper those things in my ear, but I had a few mentors in college. Renee Marshall at College of the Canyons really helped motivate me. And I got involved, and I really tried to make an active change in education as well. So, and I'm continuing to try to do that, and I'm striving as I'm going in my career. So I've had naysayers, but I've never been personally discouraged, because I've always tried to push forward and push through all that. And that's my main thing. If you feel like this is what you want to do and you're passionate about it, don't let something stand in your way, and make a difference the best you can in whatever field you're doing.
Well, Chris, I'm so glad you said that, because when I put together this event, I never really took into consideration the naysayers. You know, sometimes there's people out there who really don't believe in you as much as you believe in yourself, and they'll kind of hint at it for you if you're struggling as a student or whatever it may be, kind of suggesting that it maybe not, maybe it's not for you. And I'm so glad that you were able to bring that to this event, and just kind of let students know that it will be hard times. It will be times that you will doubt yourself, but the only doubt that you should never accept is the doubt from somebody else. I mean, it should always be you believing in yourself more than anything. So
Exactly.
thank you for sharing that. And William, I really can't wait to ask you about this, and then Corin next, because these the engineering field, I know it's tricky, it's technical, it's hard.
I've
So
got good news for you, Jamal. There will be
yeah.
a job for you.
Okay. Well, that's
So
good.
there,
'Cause
yeah,
I'm-
we high demand industry for sure. You know, I want to like, there's a weird, this is like, you could have a pragmatic answer here and say like, you should all definitely do the research in your field. Like, let's say if you want to be a Formula One race car driver, there are exactly 20 of those in the world. So that's probably
Yeah.
not a great career path unless you have more money than I think a lot of us have. However, I want to say, if some, to Chris's point, I'm mortified that anyone would try to like dissuade you from some kind of well-known, respected career path with lots of opportunity that's well needed around the world. You can safely ignore those people. That's don't let anyone tell you that you can't do a thing, because as in every experience I've had, people that are at College of the Canyons and elsewhere are working to better themselves, and they are motivated not by some external forces, but most often it comes from within. So you don't need to have that confidence shaken by naysayers and otherwise like demotivating people. So you're all great. You will struggle to learn. It's hard sometimes, but you can do it. And don't let anyone get in that way. So yeah. So as far as technical fields, I never had any doubt that there would be work for me. I have plenty of doubt on my ability to climb up the corporate ranks, but that's kind of a different thing. So you know, being excellent is difficult. Being an average technical engineer is quite easy.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry. So I guess it's my turn. And I think I'm going to disagree with my fellow panelists on a lot of this. I mean, totally right for you guys, because you know that there's such a demand for engineers and nurses that, which is why a lot of the programs are really impacted. Like I know the nursing program at College of the Canyons, there was like a 2-year wait list for a while, right? And it's really hard to get into because there are jobs on the other end. But with the film industry, I kind of feel like maybe this isn't the thing that students and faculty members want to hear, but I don't know that your college education is the most important thing for it. So for example, I don't know that anyone's ever applied for a job and they heard, well, we're not really hiring. Oh, you know what? Wow, we didn't realize that you had a master's degree in film with a emphasis in editing. Yeah, you know, we need a guy like you, because there's so many people out there. So I would say that the most valuable thing that I got out of school was collaborating with other students, getting to build my experience level up, and making those connections. That's something that I think has benefited what we've seen lately in filmmaking, like the Kevin Smiths, the Tarantinos, Robert Rodriguez, kind of the film school generation of filmmakers. They're not using, they didn't get hired because of their degrees, but that whole process of going through the film school helped them learn the skills. But you still got to really be a hustler in order to kind of work your way up and meet people and get on different film crews. It's not so much people are going to be hiring you based on your resume alone. You really got to make those connections.
Corinne, that was really awesome, because like you guys, as you guys have noticed, I was a bit nervous reading of such amazing talent and dedication, and you guys have awesome stories. So it's really nerve-wracking to put myself out there and try to tell you guys this bio and story and do things like this. But by me putting myself out there, by me joining ASG, by me joining the NASA HASP team, by me joining the math club, Phi Theta Kappa, I'm a part of everything. And I make, like Joanna knows, I've met some of the most awesome people. I didn't even know I would meet some of these people, like William Harvard, you Corinne, you Chris, and Francesca and Daniela. Like I'm almost everybody here kind of by name. Is getting kind of crazy.
Don't forget about Charlene. You know,
Oh no,
Charlene too.
Charlene. Charlene is making it all possible. Charlene's no mad love for her. But yeah, just getting involved and making those connections with people, Corinne. And I think it's very important that you said that, and especially you being in a major that's kind of, you know, not as high demand as engineering or nursing or being a teacher. That's really like, you know, striving for excellence right there. I mean, I don't even really know anybody who's ever said out of their mouth, I'm going to be a film director or or an actor. I've never really met those people. So just believing in yourself and making those connections. I think that I'm so glad that the students got to hear that today, and everybody here got to hear that today, because the connections are really just awesome for me. So with that, I would like to get into some more singular questions, I guess you could call them. But what are two things that you would tell your younger self? And I'm going to start this one off with William.
Yeah. So younger me was not so great or smart. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned. So actually, it kind of ties into some of the stuff we've been talking about, and that is that it's really important to find like the thing that you're doing as a kid. And I mean, forgive me for kind of being a bit patronizing, calling you guys kids, but I'm kind of in middle age now. So I was doing stuff as a kid, and it wasn't really driving toward anything specific. And if I had to do it over again, I would have been highly focused on taking the things that I had fun doing as a kid and trying to monetize them, and using the experiences that I gained just screwing around and being able to put them on a CV. And like I heard a crazy example about this recently, about a girl who at 6 years old was like just desperately into horses, and her parents supported her through this. And you know, it was like this huge loss leader for her parents, like paying thousands of dollars to go to competitions and whatnot. And over the course of a decade and a half, at 19, she became a junior Olympian in this horse riding style. And all of a sudden, her job now is to work for a wealthy family buying horses. And she loves every minute of it. And that is a story that is so empowering to me. And I wish I would have had a similar experience. And so as I look back of all the time that I spent kind of screwing around, I kind of think now, like, I could have been making money screwing around. That would have been great. The second thing, and I think this is kind of often parroted, but I want to make sure that you all know it as well, is that failure is a natural part of learning. And if you're not failing, you need to start, because that's how you learn. And I was completely crippled, and I'm still finding this today, that I'm crippled by the fear of failure. So I don't start projects. And so going through that and actually, you know, going through the tribulation of failure will help make you a more well-rounded person with better set of skills. So do it, and don't be afraid, and don't be abashed, and don't blame other people who fail too. If you're working as a team, you should expect failure, and you should expect to grow together. So those are my two things.
Yes, I love them. They're awesome. Yeah, I believe in that too, that failure is a part of growing. And I'm trying to explain that to my calc teacher right now, JK. Let me ask, what is the most rewarding project that you have ever worked on, Francesca, please?
A rewarding project?
Yeah.
I think one thing that was pretty rewarding is that Again, just like everybody said, networking is key. And a lot of people find out that I'm a nurse and they'll like contact me to speak to like students or whatever. And there's a class or a high school in Palmdale that my friend works for, and she works with the AVID group. And so she had me come in during when I was in nursing school and put on like a slideshow presentation for the kids to kind of get them kickstarted in the direction on which way to go. And I think it was so rewarding because a lot of them didn't know. Some parents may not know which direction to go or how to guide their kids or like where to start, or they're too scared to speak up. So when I was able to get there and talk to them about programs like the College Now courses that kids can take during high school to complete prerequisites prior to graduating high school was a benefit. I mean, they didn't know. For example, my daughter right now, she's 11th grader at school, and she's taken the College Now courses. She's actually in the Counseling 150 class at COC. And this is helping her knock off almost a year to 2 years of her time for prerequisites when she graduates. And so it was rewarding because after I did that, the kids were asked to write letters to us. And every letter was just thanking us, saying, thank you for telling me about this. Now I know how to do this. And some of them needed that support. So that was probably one of the most rewarding things I've done is kind of like planting that seed for somebody. And it may not have worked for the whole class and everybody's going to be a nurse in that class, but the ones that are interested or maybe didn't even know that they were interested, it kind of guided them in a direction and on where to go and where to start. So that was mine.
Well, I love it. I think that helping people grow is one of the best things that we can do. It's so selfless. I think it even gives us new life, makes us feel younger and more alive, just to help somebody and see them light up about it and making them believe that they can do it. So that is pretty rewarding. Thank you. I'm going to go with Chris on this one. And can I ask, please, what is the best advice that you can give?
Just in general, or?
Yeah, that's kind of how I wrote it for some reason, but maybe just in general, or to students, or just to people, just everybody here, because not everybody here is a student. So what is the best advice I guess you can give just a person in general? Or
the best advice I can give is knowing that kind of like what William was saying, learning from your mistakes. You can grow from that. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to like fail, but knowing things will get better from it as well. So if something's not going well, you can always strive to make it better. So I've found that in my life. I've had hard times in school, in personal life, and it happens. Just remember that you can grow from anything. So whatever struggles you might go through, they can help you grow into the person that you can become.
Thank you so much, Chris. And personally, I think you're one of the most courageous panelists here today. No disrespect to any other panelists, but substitute teachers have a tough job sometimes. And to hang in there and show tenacity and still help people learn and grow is pretty amazing. And to just, let people know to continue to hang in there, that's awesome. So
yeah, my first week of subbing, I subbed for a high school class, I think my second or third day. And the high schoolers told me that they were proud of how many substitutes they chased away. A few left midday, a few never came back after that day and just left the teaching profession. So they were proud of how many substitutes they chased away. So
that's when I read in your bio that you did it over and over again. I was like, you did a lot of substituting? Like, whoa, is it in Southern California? Like, so it's awesome. Thank you.
I don't think people realize that teachers are very important. I mean, I wouldn't be a nurse without a teacher. So we need teachers, and I'm grateful for the ones that make those impacts. Like whenever anybody ever says anything, I'm like, no, it's the teachers. That's how everybody gets to the profession that they are, is by, having a teacher. So I think it's awesome.
Yes, thank you for that. And Corin, I've been waiting to get to you for a question. So here it is. What is the best advice you have ever received?
There's one that I was thinking of, but now there's two. So let me see here. One of them was from a friend of mine who went to school twice. Once he got his degree in like general mathematics, and then he went and got a more specific degree. But he said something to me about specializing in something, and I realized how right he was about that. So like when I went to school at College of the Canyons and later at CSUN, I took all kinds of classes, right? I took screenwriting, directing, producing, cinematography, editing, sound classes. And so when you work on group projects, I got to do all these little things and sample all kinds of different potential careers because I didn't know where I wanted to go. And that was fun. And I enjoy that still because I'm all over the place and it's fun to do all these different things. But there were other students that knew that they wanted to be a cinematographer. And so that's what they did for each project, or they wanted to be an editor on every project. And so by the time that they graduated, they already had a pretty good portfolio of doing one specific task that I think made them more hireable than being a jack of all trades, master of none. Same thing goes for any field, like a medical field, for example. Doctors make a lot of money. We all know that. But if you're a specialist, right, let's say that you are a neurologist or a heart surgeon, or you specialize in really good breast implants or something, you can command more money because you specialize in something, right? When you're the specialist that everyone calls. The other thing also having to do with money, by the way, the other best advice I ever received is that when you're offered a job, you always respond with, wow, I appreciate that. That's a very generous offer, but I'm wondering if there's a little bit more, because there's usually a budget range, and they're going to start you off at the lowest one. And when you ask, all you have to do is ask for a little bit more. Sometimes they'll say no, but in my experience, they're going to come back with $10,000 or $15,000 higher a year. And that's a car. And so it's worth at least asking, and you're saving yourself 5 years worth of raises. So that's the other bit of advice that I've learned.
Amazing. That is really important, and you definitely made my ears perk up. And specializing, I have a whole new outlook on specializing now. So thank you for that, Corinne. This question is for William. And I hope that if any students out there or anybody has any questions for the panelists, feel free to put them in the chat. They're more than eager to answer any questions that you may have. So just wanted to remind you guys of that. But so William, do you have any tips or advice for students who have recently graduated or are going to graduate soon, and in regarding what they can do to make themselves more competitive in landing a job?
Yeah, absolutely. So a big thing, I think Corin touched on this, and I agree with it wholeheartedly, and that is that when I am looking at hiring young engineers, I am looking for practical skills. So it's kind of a given. When I see that you have a college degree, I assume that you can do all of the coursework, but there are so many people out there, so many young engineers that have never built a thing or turned a wrench or something. And that kind of carries over to most professions, is if you can build a portfolio that shows that you already have the skill set that you're going into prior to ever actually entering the professional workforce, it becomes a really powerful tool to differentiate you from other entry-level job seekers. So if you haven't, I mean, and this might be a little too late for some of you, but if you are, just entering, say, your final 2 years at a university, find an extracurricular group that is doing something related to what you want to do, and get your hands on that and build this portfolio of things. Jamal kind of touched on my background, and when I went to Georgia Tech, I found this space called the Invention Studio, where they had any kind of manufacturing equipment I could possibly dream of, from the stuff you'd see in your dad's wood shop and in the garage to CNC water jet and plasma cutters and mills and lathes. And so anything I wanted to make, I could make. And I did that for 2 years. I made a lot of stuff. And when it came time to go get my job, I was right next to other engineers who may have had better GPAs than me, but I said, look at a thing that I did. That gave the hiring manager a lot more faith that I could actually execute on doing the things that they were interested in. So get that portfolio growing, get those experiences going that is outside of the base curriculum.
Thank you so much, William. I feel like so much better about my future already just hearing that. I mean, it's kind of like you said, it's almost obvious or second nature. You think that you want to do a thing and you want to be great at it, but instead we just focus on the book work aspect of our academic journey, when we should be actually getting our hands dirty and experimenting and doing things and trying to build stuff or trying to learn more or get into the groups that relate to us. So
Jamal, you got to be applying that book work. So the book work is the tools in your toolbox. So that's what school is. You are just filling your toolbox with tools. What we would love to see is you use those tools prior to you graduating.
Yes. I'm already looking at Makerspace, and like I said, I'm in the NASA club here on campus at COC. So now I just know that I'm doing the right thing. I'm excited about just being an engineer and growing as a student. And I'm sure all the students and all the people here today benefited from all of the advice that you guys have, all of the knowledge and the skills that you guys have accomplished, earned, and attained. It's really astronomical. I mean, it's really great. So thank you for just sharing all of your advice with us today. If anybody would just like to say some things in general, I mean, you definitely could.
Corin, it sounds like you're queued up to do this politics question.
Oh, no. I tend to avoid it publicly, but yeah, I was going to say, I feel like the entertainment industry, as much as people don't want to hear it, they're always like, oh, the Hollywood elite needs to just keep their mouths shut and just, act like we tell them to. But the truth is, we kind of pick and choose who we want to hear, because then you find somebody who's saying the one thing that you agree with and you go on sharing it, So I think that anybody with a platform is going to use that to share their thoughts. A lot of film and TV shows don't do it explicitly, but there's definitely going to be subtext in there, because you're telling somebody's story, and the story is going to be affected by wherever they live, by their environment, and that involves politics. So it's kind of hard to avoid it, I think, in this industry. I don't know about all your industries.
Yeah, I don't know. I would still like to be an actor. So if you have a gig, let me know. I mean, I could at least can I post? Can I be a model or something? Can I do anything? Come on.
We could do it.
No, but thank you. Like I said, you guys really have a lot of knowledge about just your career field and just the college journey in general. So thank you for everything. And it's about 12:55 now, so it looks like it's going to be time for us to wrap it up. I'd like to thank everybody for just coming out and spending time with me and supporting this event. This is an event that we want to make ongoing. So the next person who does this event hopefully doesn't have terribly bad public speaking abilities like me and get all cotton-mouthed and struggle to read people's bios. But yeah, we want to make this a continuing event. We love working with just the ASG loves working with the Alumni Network, and Charlene is very amazing at connecting students with mentors, like she did with me and Mr. Harwood. And so I really encourage you guys just to continue to attend these events. they do get better with practice, and just to continue to hear from people who have walked the paths that we want to walk will always be something that will help us get to where we're trying to go a lot easier. So if you guys can please just remember to follow us on your social media, on our social media page, about updates for upcoming ASU events. And it would be helpful for you to find out what's going on locally as well. And I'd like to just go ahead and pass it back to Charlene. Thank you, guys.
Yes, yes. And I think Jamal doesn't give himself enough credit. They get better every single time. I think you get a different array of questions with a different amount of people. And so you are doing fantastic, my friend. We want to encourage you to jump on these because we are doing them about every 2 or 3 months. And if you are aware of any alumni that are out there that you think would be phenomenal to share their story to, we definitely want to encourage them to come our direction. I will drop in the chat my contact information, but you can also reach out to both Jamal and Joanna in ASG. And we will, I mean, we're always constantly talking and coming up with new ideas, new visions. If you have an idea that you would love that would augment the services that we do with ASG or alumni, please reach out to us too as well. And go to our online page. If you, I don't know if I have it dropped in the chat. Joanna, do you think that you could drop it in the chat that goes and directs to our Alumni 360 page, or is that not readily accessible to you?
I can find it.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Well, while she's searching for that, again, our Alumni 360 page, what that is it's an opportunity to access all of our alumni that are connected with the college and our alumni network. So if you have questions about your industry, you're looking for a mentor and want to engage, we also have our alumni mentor program that we've rolled out with. We will be starting a new mentorship program in the fall, and what we will be doing is students that are interested in connecting with someone in their network that has taken classes at College of the Canyons and might be in their field. And she did drop that in there. There is a registration page on our Alumni 360 page if you are interested in that. But again, we want to thank you. We appreciate you for your attendance, and we look forward to having you on our next event coming up in the next few months, probably in August. So, all right. Thank you, guys.